Satan hates to see God's children growing in their faith, and he wants to sift you as wheat. Y'all, today we are going to be coming from Luke, and we're going to be talking about something that I studied recently with Peter and a conversation that Jesus and Peter had because it can relate to us and in our faith and something that we can look out for. This topic is so good. And I'm excited to talk about it with you guys, just concerning Satan, concerning our faith, concerning the battle for our souls. I really want to talk about this. So today we will be coming from Luke chapter 22. And I really wanted to break this down to y'all and go into depth about this conversation. So it says in we're in chapter 22, verse 31 is where it starts. Jesus predicts Peter's denial. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, indeed, Satan has asked for you that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for you that your faith should not fail. And when you have returned to me, strengthen your brethren. But he said to him, Lord, I am ready to go with you, both to prison and to death. Then he said, I tell you, Peter, the rooster shall not crow this day before you will deny me 3 times that you know me. Y'all. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. So I was looking at the word, I was studying. I'm like, God, what does sift you like wheat mean? What does that even mean? What was Satan basically trying to tell you? So as I continue to read it and I continue to do some research and deep dive in the Bible study, it basically talks about how Satan wanted to destroy Peter's faith. He wanted to come after Peter's faith. He wanted to knock Peter off of his faith by throwing something at him to test him, to see that if he would remain loyal to God. And I love how in here, Jesus literally told Peter, he comforted him before he told him. He said, Peter, Satan is asking to swift you up. He's asking to take you out. But I am praying for you. I am praying for you that your faith will be strengthened and that you will be able to help your other brethren who are going to go through the same thing, who are going to face the same thing. It even makes me think about Job, how Satan was after his faith in God. Job literally was a good man. He was serving the Lord. He was righteous. But Satan wanted to come after his faith. And it made me think that Satan has to ask permission to mess with God's children because we are covered and protected. And Jesus warned Peter and said that Satan is coming after your faith. He's coming after you with some type of attack. But I've already interceded for you. I've already prayed for you. And I love that he even gave him assurance that even though you're going to deny me 3 times, you are going to return back to me. And you're going to be able to help your brethren who are going to face the same stuff. See, Satan is going to be constantly after your faith as a believer. And we have to be strong to learn what it looks like to endure in our faith, because there are always going to be something or someone that is going to try to throw you off your faith. But see, the Bible says that the righteous man falls 77 times and gets right back up. And it's all about repenting and turning away and continue to walk with God. See, when we go through these trials and tribulations, even though Satan tries to form these weapons, they shall not prosper. And when we go through these things, it's honestly to build us up. See, what the devil means for bad, God actually intends for good. God actually turns around so that now you are such a strong soldier in your walk. Now, when you see those temptations, now when you see those fights, now when you see these certain things coming for your faith, you know how to fight. You know how to fight now. You know how to fight. Before you go into war, you have to prepare. You have to prepare. And so the Lord, he builds us up as soldiers in his kingdom. As the Bible says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but of spirits of high principalities. We know that this battle is spiritual and that Satan hates to see God's children grow in their faith, regardless. He hates it. He don't want to see you growing. I think sometimes we look past the spiritual concept of stuff and like forgetting who God is and forgetting that there is a devil and that he is after God's children. We forget that sometimes. But it's the truth. It's real. This is not just a physical world. This is a spiritual world. And the fact that Satan was asking Jesus and to attack Peter, and he asked Jesus to attack Job. What makes you think he's not going to ask Jesus to attack you? Come for your faith. But see, these are the things that build us up. Even when it feels like we getting knocked out and we losing this fight, this is the thing that's going to help us learn how to have endurance. And endurance produces steadfastness. And steadfastness produces patience, and so on and so on. So now we know how to stand strong and stand faithful to God, because there are going to be a lot of things we face on this earth. And it ain't going to be what we think. It's going to be a lot of things that's going to come for your faith. So we got to make sure this is right, that we giving this to God. And I preach this all the time. And so we know, if you continue to read in verses 54, it starts where Peter denies Jesus 3 times. It says, having arrested him, they led him and brought him into the high priest's house, but Peter followed at a distance. Now, when they had kindled a fire in the midst of the courtyard and sat down together, Peter said among them, and a certain servant girl, seeing him as he sat by the fire, looked intently at him and said, this man was also with him. But he denied him, saying, woman, I do not know him. And after a little while, another saw him and said, you also are of them. But Peter said, man, I am not. Then after about an hour had passed, another confidential affirmed, saying, surely this fellow also was with him, for he is a Galilean. But Peter said, man, I do not know what you are saying. Immediately while he was still speaking, the rooster crowed, and the Lord turned and looked at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had said to him, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. So Peter went and wept out bitterly. I can only imagine how Peter felt in that moment, feeling like he just betrayed the one that he loves. Because we all know that Peter really, really loved Yeshua. He really loved him. But he had a moment where the enemy targeted and came after him. And see, the Bible tells us in Hebrews that Jesus is constantly interceding for his children. Jesus interceded for Peter, and Peter got through it, because as we continue to look through the story, we see that Jesus asked Peter 3 times, do you love me? And Peter said, yes. And God used Peter for his glory. So when the enemy comes for you, and he comes for your faith, God sees you. Get back up and continue to push forward, continue to endure. When he knocks you off, don't stay beneath. Rise back up, child of God, and stay on the steadfast path of God, of righteousness. God is interceding for us on our behalf. We are not alone. We are not facing this alone. He sees and knows all things. So he's trying to produce endurance in you. And so I pray that this blesses someone, that this encourages someone to have that endurance and remain steadfast. God bless you all, and I will see y'all in my next video.